Rock'em Sock football in a rivalry as old as the NFL itself. The Bears and Giants met in the league's first title match, and again a year later in the sneakers game. The New Yorkers switched from cleats to sneakers at halftime and overcame the icy field and the Bears.
No matter when you played against the Bears, against the Giants, there was no give and no take. Everything went. I mean, they just hit us with everything they had, and we responded and hit them with everything we had.
Well, that's the way football, I think, always should have been played. And it was a type of game where we played hurt.
Frank Gifford, Mike Ditka, Y.A. Tittle, Hall of Famers who fought to the finish in an epic at Wrigley Field.
This Bears-Giants game is going to be exactly like the 1963 game. Both defenses going to be hard-hitting, tough football like you like to see.
In 1985, the Bears again dominated the NFL, flattening the Giants en route to a Super Bowl crown. Today, there's a new wave of battle-tested veterans preparing to square off in face-to-face combat.
It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out. It's going to be a war.
Giants Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. We're here for the NFC Divisional Playoff, the 8th postseason meeting of the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. A capacity crowd of 76,000 making its way into Giants Stadium. Out in the massive parking lot, the tailgaters are wrapping up their pregame rituals and preparing to head into the stadium where they hope to watch their heroes join the Bills and the 49ers, who have already qualified for next Sunday's conference championships. But in order to do that this afternoon, they'll have to make their way past Chicago, a team which is willing to do it the hard way, invading enemy territory in pursuit of the big prize. On this, the next step to Super Bowl 25. And hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Terry Bradshaw. We welcome you to our CBS Sports continuing live stadium coverage of the NFC Divisional Playoffs. And it's the Bears and the Giants. Chicago has won the last 5 meetings, dating back to the last Giants victory at Yankee Stadium in October of 1989. The Bears and the Giants today, as always, represent the epitome, Terry, of good old-fashioned smash-mouth football.
Say what, Greg?
No, please don't.
Hey, cold weather, smash-mouth football, rock-em, sock-em, good kind of stuff. You know, what we're going to see today is totally unlike what we saw yesterday with the Redskins and the 49ers when 80 passes were thrown. That's not smash-mouth. Today, we might not see 8 passes thrown.
Yeah, now here's a question for you. Will the Bears play smash-mouth? On Friday, Mike Ditka was asked about his game plan by someone with a special vested interest in the outcome, the coach's 17-month-old granddaughter, Lauren.
She wants to see the game plan. Our game plans are so simple, anybody could help me with them. Line up, run it to the left, run it to the right, run it up the middle, run it to the left, run it to the right, honey. Just run it anywhere. And play the piano.
You get the feeling Lauren has heard that game plan before. Well, Mother Nature has seen fit to give us a break today. The temperature is a relatively balmy 30 degrees, and the key today under sunny skies may well be the wind, with gusts of 15 miles an hour. The forecast is for partly sunny and a wind chill right around 11 degrees. But what about the condition of the field, Terry?
Well, when you look at the flags, what you see is not what you're getting down here on the field. It's totally opposite. I got out early. You know, this is one stadium, Giant Stadium, where you walk around it as a player long before the game starts to find out what parts of the end zones, the corners of the playing field, the wind has their greatest effect. And I found this out. If I were quarterbacking this game today and running a ball control offense, if I ever did throw the football, I would throw it inside the 20-yard line, 20-yard line on in, because the wind has virtually no effect on the football whatsoever.
All right, Terry. Well, as part of the smash mouth philosophy, both teams will rely heavily on their running games. And for quick updates, let's check in with Pat O'Brien and Leslie Visser, starting with Pat, who has the latest on Chicago's all-pro running back Neil Anderson. Pat?
All right, Greg, Terry, thank you. You know, we were flying across the country last night. We were talking about how, in many ways, Neil Anderson is the Chicago Bears. And the story with him all week have been 2 cracked ribs. And I talked to him about 10 minutes ago, and he said he's going to play in a lot of pain today. He said, if you ever had a cracked rib, every time you breathe, they hurt. And I said, what about, what's that going to do to you? And he said, well, I'm an old-fashioned guy, Pat. He said, I'd play without a helmet if I had to. I said, well, what about when LT hits you? And he said, I plan to hit him back. So we went to LT, and I said, LT, how do you deal with guys with cracked ribs? And he said, Pat, we have a school to hit guys with cracked ribs. Let's see what's going on the other side in Leslie Visser. V?
Pat, about the only Anderson not here is Hans Christian. You know, there's been a little bit of mystery today as to who Bill Parcells will start at running back. Well, behind door number 1 is 33-year-old Otis Anderson, the sure-handed veteran. Behind door number 2 is Rodney Hampton, the sensational rookie. I just spoke with Hampton a little while ago. He said it doesn't matter who starts, only that they get the job done. Well, in fact, it will depend on field position. If the Giants' first possession is inside the 20, it will be the experienced Anderson. Anything beyond that, it will be Hampton. That's it from here. Greg?
All right, Leslie, thank you. Well, the last time the Bears played the Giants was the opening Monday night game of the 1987 season. Mike Tomczak started in place of the injured Jim McMahon and enjoyed perhaps his finest game of his career, clicking on 20 of 34 passes for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Bears' 34-19 romp. A short time ago, Terry had a quarterback-to-quarterback chat with him.
Mike, coming off the last week's victory over the Saints, first thing I'd have to know is where's your confidence level right now?
It's gone up another level. I think with the victory last week, it's done a lot for me personally. I think it's done a lot for our team, and hopefully that can catapult in something big here this afternoon.
More comfortable traveling on the road for you than at home?
A lot less pressure. I think it's a lot quieter, first and foremost, and I think you're more focused on the road. Not that you're not focused at home, but there's more distractions when you're at home.
If the Bears win today, what's really going to be the key?
I think we've got to score with inside our plus territory, inside the 20-yard line. We can't turn the ball over inside there, and I think we just have to be the aggressor. I think we really have to get after him.
Boy, Mike Tomczak's confidence factor has been a major subject of conversation around Chicago. What do you think?
It's gone through the roof, you know, and when people ask me a question about someone's confidence before a big game, look at their eyes. And in looking at his eyes, totally relaxed, the man has seemed like there's an amount of confidence that he's never had before, and I expect him to play very well today.
Well, now the Giants also have a veteran backup in Jeff Hostetler, although this is his first playoff appearance. He's 4-0 as a starter. Your thoughts on Hostetler?
Well, he told me, he said, Terry, I went to Bill, said, look, trust me. Don't tie my hands in this football game. When it gets really tight, turn me loose. Don't just make me run the football.
All right, Terry. Well, one starter whom we are very happy to report is back with us is our own Pat Summerall. Somehow you just knew that the kicker wouldn't miss a Giants playoff game, and number 88 is suited up once again with his partner John Madden, so let's check in with them upstairs at their familiar perch, and on a very cold day, a very warm welcome back. Patrick?
Well, Greg, I can't tell you how great it is to be back, and I thank all those who said thanks and welcomed me back. John Madden, of course, with me. John, these teams sort of mirror each other. They both like to run the football. They both play solid defense. They both know when you ask the coaches that that's the plan. We're going to run the ball. That's what we have to do to win. Let's talk about the Bears. They know that. How do they plan to run?
Well, you know, they have a heck of an offensive line. I mean, it's an experienced group that it seems like they've been together forever, and I think it all starts there. Then when you think about the running game of the Bears, you think about Neil Anderson. Neil Anderson is probably one of the best running backs in all of football, so you got to stop him. But I'll tell you one thing. They better not forget Brad Muster, because it seems like anytime the Bears really move the ball, Brad Muster comes up with a couple of big plays.
What about the Giant plan? The Bears obviously know they plan to run too, also. How do they plan to get that accomplished?
Well, you know, they're going to use a couple guys. They're going to use O.J. Anderson, and they're going to use Rodney Hampton. They're going to bring them in and out. I think O.J. will take the tough yardage, you know, going in, coming off the goal line, short yardage, those types of things. Rodney Hampton playing in the middle of the field. But, you know, we can talk about this running game, and I think it is going to be a running game. But I think in order to keep it going, in order to keep drives going and really make drives and score touchdowns, somewhere it's going to go on the shoulders of these quarterbacks. And one of these guys is going to have to rise to the occasion, one of these quarterbacks, and have a big day today.
Should be interesting. Now back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, when we come back, Pat O'Brien will relive a long journey with Dan Hampton, and Leslie Visser takes a quick ride with Pepper Johnson as this divisional playoff edition of the NFL Today continues live from Giant Stadium here on CBS.
The NFL Today is sponsored by GTE. At GTE, the power is on. Beef Industry Council and Beef Board. Beef, real food for real people. And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this.
Giant Stadium on a sunny Sunday afternoon as the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants get set to do battle here. You know, we fly all night to get back here from San Francisco. What's the first thing Leslie Visser does? She goes for a car ride earlier today with Pepper Johnson of the Giants and his girlfriend Yvette Robinson. Leslie.
Hi ho, Greg. It was off to work we went. You know, different players have different levels of anticipation for a game like this. Pepper Johnson said that Bill Parcells, Mr. Psychologist, motivated the team all week by saying that their 13 wins this year mean nothing if they don't win today. I'm sorry, I guess we weren't able to have that track. Pepper said that what they've talked about all week is that you don't get many opportunities in life, particularly for Lawrence Taylor. They said he's at the end of his career. They want to do well for him. Pepper said that going against Neil Anderson, that will be his main job, an inside rush on Neil Anderson. He also said that, ironically, it's an interesting game for him. He went to college with Mike Tomczak, and he broke Mike Tomczak's leg in practice one day in spring practice. He said, well, he doesn't wish that for Mike Tomczak today. He wouldn't mind if Mike maybe had the wind knocked out of him. Let's go over on the Bears side of the field to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Leslie, thank you. You know, for the Bears, they've been all business this week, but for one of the Bears, this business trip to the New York area has been a sentimental journey. After 12 seasons, 10 knee operations, and 4 appearances in the Pro Bowl, Dan Hampton is retiring, and he hates it when we say this, but this could be the final game for the Danimal.
It's up to you, New York. We're ready to go.
How does it feel? Well, crowded, but yet lonely. And so Dan checked out the local tabloids to see what the scribes had scribbled.
Yeah, we're staying right here in the Meadowlands. The stadium's, I can look right out the window and see it. Yeah, it's like a driver wedge away from me.
Thank you. Good luck, Dan.
Last night, Hampton was busy doing some writing of his own. But as he arrived at Giant Stadium this morning to pen the latest chapter in a storied career, we had a chance to chat with him. Welcome to New York. Have you lifted the hood up on this old body, and how's it look?
I think things are going to go pretty well for us today. The team seems to be really focused, and you know, they're playing Frank Sinatra music here, and Fridge hates that, so he's going to be ready to go too. Look for big things.
What about this turf today on your knees, bone to bone?
Well, you know, it's something I don't look forward to. It's like going to the dentist. Sometimes you got to do it, though. For us to get to San Francisco and on to Tampa, we've got to be on this stuff today. Might as well make the most of it. And, you know, so what if I can't walk for 5 days? It'll be worth it if we win.
You know, John Madden said last week that if you wanted a poster of one of the poster boy for a poster on a football player, it would be Dan Hampton. We're going to miss him. He had a great career. Incidentally, fellas, I ran into Mike Tomczak and I said to him, what is the number one thing you're worried about today? And he said, war. And I'm not talking about this one. Back to you guys.
All right, Pat, thank you. When we come back, we'll talk live with the Bears and the Giants starting quarterbacks who won't be starting here today. Jim Harbaugh and Phil Simms will join us when we continue live from the Meadowlands on the NFL Today. About 12 minutes to kick off here at Giant Stadium, and the officials are about ready to summon the players as we await this NFC Divisional playoff matchup between the Bears and the Giants. Some would say that the 3 best quarterbacks in the stadium today are here on our set. Unfortunately, none of them will be playing today. Terry and I are joined now by the NFC's top-rated passer, Phil Simms, who guided the New York Giants to the NFC East title before spraining his right foot, and Jim Harbaugh of the Chicago Bears, who led the Bears to the NFC Central crown before separating his right shoulder. Gentlemen, welcome to the NFL Today. And I don't know if there's any reason to expect this, Phil, but would there be a departure from the Giants' normal approach to football today?
Oh, I would think not. I think with the conditions here today and the work we've done all week, I expect us to go and do exactly what we did all year. That's run the ball hard.
Jim, we know the Bears do the same thing. Have they ever departed from that philosophy?
Well, I don't know about departing from the philosophy, but today they got a great game plan. It might surprise some people, but the weather conditions are great, and I expect Mike and Neil and Brad to have a great game.
Well, since you brought that up, let me jump in here on this game plan. Are you saying that possibly what I'm reading is that there might be some more passing? That's the way I would anticipate the answer, that they're not going to run the ball as much, maybe come out and throw the ball a little bit more, Jim?
It's a very balanced attack, and the coaches did a great job with the game plan this week. I think it'll be very exciting to watch.
Now, I want to ask both of you this, because I know how it feels not to play after leading a football team. How hard is it for you, Jim, Phil, to sit here and watch your backups lead your team into this playoff game?
Well, for me, it's very hard to watch, but on the other hand, the next best thing is to be able to watch and have a great vantage point from the field. I'm excited. It's going to be a great game.
Well, it's tough, of course, to play all year long, to work all off season, and really at this time in my career, I just want to. This is what I play for, is the playoffs. So it's hard to sit here and watch it, but hopefully we'll go ahead and win the game.
And I know, like Mr. Bradshaw, you really enjoy playing in weather when it's this cold, right?
Oh, it's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. Jim, Phil, thank you very much for taking the time. Player intros upcoming when the NFL Today continues from Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands right after this. 76,000 fans set to show their affection for their NFC East Division champion New York Giants. Terry, what about tempo for this game?
All right, the tempo is going to be set early, but here's the key. I really think the first coach that has the courage to come out and change his game plan, to get away from the run and mix it up, play action, and go to the first one to break that routine, I think, and get the early advantage is the coach that will probably win this game.
Well, the Chicago Bears have won the toss. Their offensive unit has been introduced, and now field announcer Bob Shepard set to introduce the New York Giant defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Giants offense. At center, number 65, Bart Oates. Right guard, number 60, Eric Moore. Left guard, number 66, William Roberts. Right tackle, number 72, Bart Rosenberg. Left tackle, number 76, John Elliott. Tight end, number 89, Mark Bavaro. Wide receiver, number 82, Mark Ingram. Wide receiver, number 85, Stephen Baker. Quarterback, number 15, Jeff Hostetler. Running back, number 24, Otis Anderson. And running back, number 44, Maurice Carthon.
The starting lineups have been introduced. The Bears and the Giants are ready. The crowd is ready, and so are Pat Summerall and John Madden. So right now, let's send it upstairs to Pat and John. Gentlemen.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. I don't care what they say, John. You've been there as a coach. I've been there as a player a long time ago, admittedly. But the emotion, the psyche of the game, whatever you want to call it, increases when you get to the playoffs. So what exactly, if you can describe, what's it like?
This is what it's all about. I mean, this is great. 28 teams start. There's only 6 of them that are still active, 6 of them that are still playing football today, and this is what you live for. I know we were talking to Carl Banks yesterday, and he says you drive in on the day of a playoff game and you see the stadium and the butterflies start. And then he said, then you walk in the locker room and it just keeps growing. Then you go out for the pregame warm-up, then the introductions, and he said you just can't wait for the kickoff.
The Giants today on offense start a quarterback, Jeff Hostetler, who has never started a playoff game, so that feeling's got to be strange to him. Now you ask both coaches, we got to run, we got to run. That's what Ditka and Parcells both say. With that in mind, might the Giants make some sort of defensive change to stop that run?
Well, you know, they're going to make an interesting change in that they're a 3-man line that plays a cover 8, you know, which is a double zone, and it's stronger on the outside for the sweeps and the off tackle. And what the Bears do, the Bears' running strength is really to the inside. So what they're going to do for the first time all year, they're going to, one, bring the strong safety up more, get him involved in run, but they're going to use a 4-man line for the first time.
You know, John, the chess game continues now. Of course, Bill Parcells making that change to a 4-man front. Mike Ditka, I think, has in the back of his mind to expect a change like that. So he might make a change on his offensive game plan.
Well, you know, I think that Mike Ditka might do what Terry Bradshaw was starting. You know, the first coach that gets away from the game plan, because he told us last night he was going to do that they're out there and they're waiting for pass. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out and maybe start passing. You know, they expect to run. They're all going to gang up. They're doing all that thing. Maybe start the passing. Maybe doing some different things early. As Terry Bradshaw said earlier, he looked in Mike Tomczak's eyes. He could see confidence. I'll tell you, he better have seen confidence, and it better be there early.
So we'll just have to wait and see, and it should be very interesting. John Madden and I'll be back with the opening kickoff after this word from your local station. You are watching the NFC playoffs on CBS.
Sold out Giant Stadium on a brilliant afternoon. Completely unexpected by most of us. Temperature is supposed to get up to 40 degrees before the game is over as you look in on Mike Ditka's last meeting before it all began. Bill Parcells, the Giant coach, on the other side. Temperature right now just exactly at freezing. The wind northwest 13 miles an hour. The wind chill factor makes it feel like it might be 12 degrees. And the forecast partly sunny.
You know, it's interesting. Every time we talk to Bill Parcells, they play in Giant Stadium, he'd want giant weather. He'd want cold, and he'd want snow and blizzard. And he said, you know, with this team that he has, the Giants, against the Bears, he said, it's the first time in a big game of my life I can ever remember rooting for good weather. He thinks that this weather today is an advantage to his team.
Well, of course, playing at Soldier Field, Chicago, they're used to the elements. A lot of teams that come in here are not. Johnny Bailey and Dennis Gentry back deep for the Bears. The ball blew off the tee. If it does it again, somebody will come hold it.
I think they'll probably come hold it right now. We see Perry Williams there come running in, and he's going to hold it. Again, you want that held. You want it held gingerly.
Mike Ditka asked if he thought there was a difference. Said, I think they've got better special teams than we do. Dennis Gentry handles the opening kickoff, and they'll bring it out to the 20 where Mike Tomczak. He doesn't like to be called a backup quarterback, and indeed he was a starter at one time. In front of him, that veteran offensive line that's been together so long, Covert, Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, Van Horn, the tight end James Thornton, and look out for him today. The Bears plan to utilize his talents. Anderson and Mustard, the runners. Davis and Morris, the wide receivers. They both go left. Tomczak. The Giants showing that four-man line early. And Tomczak gives to Anderson for no gain, maybe a yard. Mike Fox, ever progressing as a defensive player.
Pat, now this has to be the surprise here. You see the four defensive line here, then you have a linebacker here, a linebacker here, and a safety up here. So they have 8 men up, 4-man line, the first time they'd used that all year. So the Bears could not have expected this.
The safety up, Greg Jackson. 2nd and 9, 4 down defensive linemen. They're going to have to throw it against this, and Tomczak will. Pass is caught by Wendell Davis, a one-handed snag. Knocked out of bounds by Jackson, 37-yard gain on the play.
And that was the play that the Bears needed. They needed it early. We talked about that. Mike Ditka says he's going to come out passing. Tomczak, we know, needs confidence early. And watch this catch by Wendell Davis, a one-hander. He just goes boom and catches that thing out there. I'll tell you, just watch here. He's just going to come out and run a corner pattern out there. Good pass protection. I think the Giants are in there expecting a run, play and run. Look at the space they have out there. Wendell Davis runs a perfect pattern.
The Bears back quickly, sent Anderson off to the right side for a pickup of 2. Stopped by Carl Banks.
I think that helps. You know, that's one of the things we talked about, the running. We know it's going to be Neil Anderson. We know they're going to mix in Brad Muster. But the thing that really makes the running game go is loosen up that defense. Get them out of that 8-man front so that you can have some room to run.
You're never going to be able to if you don't do that.
I think that pass to Wendell Davis was big in more way than one.
That's Muster in motion. He's a good pass receiver. Here's Lawrence Taylor all over Tomczak. He got rid of it. And the pass is knocked down, intended for Morris. Everson Walls. Back with Morris.
Everson Walls was all over Morris. Let's watch Lawrence Taylor here. The Bears know if they're going to pass, Mike Ditka says, we got to get Lawrence Taylor blocked. They bring the guard out on him in the first play. He misses him. He made Tomczak dodge him in order to throw that one. Like Ditka was saying last night, everyone says Lawrence Taylor slowed down. He says, I haven't seen it.
3rd and 8. And you talk about a guy who rises to a different level. It would be Taylor when the time comes. A pass overthrown. Intended for Anderson. The Bears will have to punt. Duerson, the ex-Bear, on the coverage that time.
You know, the one thing the Bears did do is they got good field position. They're punting now from the 45, so the Giants should have to start inside their 20.
Maury Buford, who had a tough time with the wind at Soldier Field last week, back to punt, and Dave Meggett, the NFC leader, is back at the 10 for the Giants. Hangs for Meggett. Signals fair catch. The ball bounces and is down to about the 5 by the Bears. Crosley, I believe, was the tight end who was down. James Coley, beg your pardon. No score yet. 0-0. The NFC Championship game, playoff game, as Jeff Hostetler makes his first start in the playoffs. Up front of him, Elliott, Roberts, Oates, Moore, Riesenberg, with Mark Bavaro, the tight end. In the backfield, Otis Anderson, the veteran, with Maurice Carthon. Ingram and Baker start wide. Baker's left, Ingram's right. Jeff Hostetler as the Giants start at 5. The kick is to Anderson. They're going to do the same thing the Bears did. Anderson incomplete. The Bear defense, they both are stingy. Up front, Trace Armstrong and Richard Dent. The ends, William Perry and Dan Hampton. In the middle, the linebackers, Rivera, Singletary, and Morrissey. And the secondary, a good one, Wolford and Jackson, the corners. Mark Carrier and Sean Gale, the 2 safety men. They're the heart of that secondary. 2nd down, 10 from the 5 for the Giants. Hostetler. And Anderson hit by William Perry right at the line of scrimmage.
Hey, that is running into a wall. You know, looking at William Perry down there, Pat, he looked like he gained 20 pounds since last week. It could just be the white jersey.
Store a lot of food in that freezer.
Well, watch him right there in the middle. He takes on the guard, pushes the whole thing down there, and I'll tell you, once they run into Perry in that middle, that is the end of their run.
I don't think the wind bothers William Perry too much.
He will always have his feet on the ground.
Meggett in the backfield and Hostetler. Flag on the play. Hostetler out of the end zone for Baker. Overthrown, but a good workout. Penalty marker down way back at the line of scrimmage. Marcus Paul was in the coverage. Offside the Bears. Free play for the Giants.
Yeah, if Jeff Hostetler knew that was a free play, if he saw the Bears jump, then that's a very, very smart thing to do. You got a free one, go big.
Defense, number 95, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down, third down.
That's Richard Dent. Here's what we're talking about right there. Moving before the ball is snapped. You see right there, he gets in that neutral zone. He didn't look like he got very far in that neutral zone. He just
far enough just to be neutral.
Right. He went from a 3-point stance to a 4-point stance.
Here's Hostetler. Out of the shotgun, and down he goes by Trace Armstrong. The guy has really developed this year. Loss of 4.
See, the other guy that was right there is Dan Hampton. Dan Hampton, we know that's playing his last game if the Bears lose. Going to retire. Trace Armstrong gets in there. He's going to come from the right side of the screen. Hampton's coming straight up the middle late. There's Armstrong, and there's Hampton.
And here's Landetta about 6 yards deep in the end zone to punt it. Driving low spiral to Bailey, who handles it at the Bears 40. And the coverage teams are down in a hurry. Bobby Abrams made the stop. 51-yard punt, only a 1-yard return. Back at Giant Stadium, Tom Zach looks at a Giant 4-man front on defense. Outside, picked off by Mark Collins. Intended for Dennis Gentry, bounced out of his hands, and Collins got the rebound.
The Bears had great field position here. Dennis Gentry is a big play guy for him. This time Gentry gives up the big play. Goes into his hands, hits his shoulder pads, bounces up in the air, and Mark Collins is right there.
Dragged down by Gentry. Hampton in the game as the running back now instead of Anderson. Now he goes in motion. Hostetler sprints right. Screens left to Bavaro. Bavaro out of bounds inside the Bear 30. Knocked out by Bestie Jackson after a gain of 5.
This is an interesting thing here, Pat. Bavaro's here. He's going to sneak across here. But Hostetler sells it by sprinting this way and then throwing back across the grain. See, now Hostetler will come out here on what we call a sprint out right, and you see Bavaro drop down. He goes back across the grain to the left. When he fell down, the Bear defense lost him.
2nd and 5. Rodney Hampton, their number 1 draft choice, was the deep back. And it is he who gets the carry for very little, maybe a yard, maybe none.
Yeah, it was interesting. Bill Parcells was saying the other day that he has 2 running backs. O.J. Anderson, who won't lose the game for you, and Rodney Hampton, who can win it. So who do you play? So what he wants to do is play both. Play Hampton when you're in the middle of the field, where you have a position to come up with a big play, and when you're in short yardage, goal line, inside the 20, those things, play O.J. Anderson. Then on 3rd down, of course, play this guy, Dave Meggett.
Ever dangerous coming out of the backfield. Hostetler from the shotgun. Snap from Oates is good. Bears in a blitz, and Hostetler had to unload.
That's the thing that they do against Meggett now when they get him in there. The way to keep him in is to blitz his side. Watch Meggett. He's over here on the right, number 30. They blitz. Ron Rivera comes on a blitz, makes him block. Then they blitz from the other side. So Meggett, 1, he's a little guy who you make block, but 2, you keep him in the backfield. You don't let him get out on a release.
Barr will try from 46 yards away to put the Giants ahead. Long for him, but this one's plenty far enough. Ain't good. And the Giants break on top. They lead 3-0 in the first quarter. 3-0 Giants, and this is what set it up right here. Tomczak to Gentry. Bounced off Dennis into the hands of Collins. And here's Barr's 46-yard field goal that grazed the inside of the upright and went through good. And now he's ready to kick off in the direction of Johnny Bailey and Dennis Gentry. It's going to be Bailey. With room. And Bailey all the way outside the 40 to about the 47-yard line. Perry Williams finally tripped him up after a 43-yard return.
I tell you, there were some good blocks on that too, Pat, and they're going to occur right about between the 20 and the 30. Right there, right there, right there, right there. And those were the blocks that got Bailey out to darn near midfield.
Rouse got an excellent block on Renee Thompson.
There was a real collision down there.
Tomczak, who likes to change the plays at the line of scrimmage, just did. To Anderson. Neil Anderson near midfield. A pickup of 4. First 2 possessions for the Bears. They started at their own 20. Wound up having to punt. 1 pass accounted for 37 yards of that 40 in that drive, if you can call it that. Tomczak back to throw. He's got Ron Morris. Morris inside the Giant 30 to about the 25, stopped by Guyton.
Here's the thing, the Giants are still using that 4-man line. That's a little play pass. They want them to play against that run, to stay up in there tight. So the Giants are up in there tight, and their receivers like Ron Morris can get in there behind them.
Morris stuck with it. 1st and 10 Bear. Morris split wide to the right. Ball's on the 25. Giants lead 3-0. That's Muster. Anderson, beg your pardon. Stopped by Fox after he got 2 yards.
You know, the interesting thing is that Mike Fox, the rookie, started in there along with John Washington, and the normal starting defensive left end, Eric Dorsey, isn't part of this, and he's pretty good against the run. You can see that in that 4-man line, it's Marshall and it's Howard, John Washington, and the rookie Mike Fox, number 93.
Muster in front of Anderson. 2nd and 9 at the 24. That's Anderson. Down to the 21, he might have gotten 3. Make 4. Washington and Howard combined to make the tackle.
You know that Mike Ditka by now knows that the Giants are playing him in a defense that the Giants haven't played all year. So he has to change his thinking. He has to change. Now you can see Washington and Fox going out. So now, of course, they're going into their 3rd down defense. But his run play calling has to be versus a 4-man line instead of a 3-man line.
And now they go with 3 wide receivers and Dennis Gentry. It's Kozlowski in motion. Out of the shotgun, it was Anderson. Flag on the play. Anderson cut down by Taylor.
I tell you, they all say that great players make big plays in big games. When you get them down there and the Bears are driving on you and you need a big play and Lawrence Taylor comes through and comes up with a big play and knocks him for a 7-yard loss on a 3rd down, that's play.
Illegal motion on the offense, 2 moving at the same time. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Yeah, watch this. We'll see Lawrence Taylor lines up all over. This time he's lining up right in the middle. Watch him come straight up the middle, get the penetration there. They can't get him, and he makes a tackle for the 7-yard loss.
He's just too quick. Good players have to play well in big games. That's what they said all day yesterday. 4th down, the Bears not trying for the field goal. Tomczak back to fire. Outside to Anderson, well short of the 1st down, stopped by Greg Jackson. And the Giants take over, leading 3-0 in the first quarter. 5 minutes, 42 seconds left to play in the first at Giants Stadium. And the Giants on a 46-yard field goal by Barr lead it 3-0, and they've just taken over on downs. I got a hunch some of these players will be included. Hostetler just does get rid of it. And Bavaro makes the catch as the Bears were all over Jeff Hostetler.
I'll tell you, Richard Dent, watch Richard Dent, number 95. He takes an inside move on Jumbo Elliott. Elliott didn't even go to block him. Either Elliott was looking for someone coming from outside, or Dent went by him so quickly he didn't even see him.
That's what it looks like.
Watch him on the inside. He just splits a guard and a tackle. No one even touches Dent.
2nd and 1. It's Hampton and Carthon, the 2 running backs. And that's Maurice Carthon, 1st down Giants. He picked up 6. Members of the Giant defensive unit over on the sideline.
Well, of course, they're talking about that 4-man line they're using and getting the safety up there. They're really doing what the defense is meant to do, is to stop the run. Now you look on the other side, the offensive line is over there, and they've been talking about this defense that really they haven't practiced against all week.
Now the Bears put a lot of people up on the line. 8-3 this was. Hostetler's throw is wild high, intended for Bavaro.
Yeah, that's why you have to throw on 1st down, Pat. It's just like you said, that what they do is they're playing the run so strong, they put 8 men up here. You see right in here in the box, they put 8 men. Now, that's ganging up in the run. See, they only have 3 guys playing the pass. Now, if they do that to you, they're really forcing you. They're daring you to run, and they're just forcing you to throw the ball.
Brings up 2nd and 10 from the 39. Giants leading 3-0. Megan on the left side behind Hostetler, and he fires complete to Baker. Baker out of bounds at the Bear 36. Vesti Jackson wrestled with him, but a gain of 25, a Giant 1st down.
Hey, Vesti Jackson looked like he was looking in the backfield or something. Good pass protection here, gives Hostetler time. Baker runs it out. Jackson is about 8 yards away from him. I mean, Jackson was really playing inside of him, and if he does that, Baker's going to run outs on him all day. Then at the end, it looks like Vesti even gets a little face mask in there.
And gets away with it. 1st and 10 Giants at the Bears 36. 3:45 left to play in the first quarter. Hostetler chased by William Perry for a moment. Gets it to that's Anderson. Inside the 30. Sean Gale made the stop after a pickup of 7.
Yeah, that's the thing that the Bears were worried about yesterday, Pat, and talking to all the Bear defensive linemen, that Hostetler does move. He not only moves on rollouts and bootlegs, but he also scrambles here. Watch this. This is a play fake. He fakes in here. Now when the pass protection breaks down, he moves a little more, O.J. Anderson was he just moves with him. He's just mirroring Hostetler. And then, boom, he's able to hit him for about a 6-7 yard gain.
2nd and 4. Ingram, the man on the move this time. And off to Carthon. Hit once behind the line. And then nudges his way. Stopped by Armstrong and Perry.
I think one thing the Giants, because of that 8-man front, you'll see they don't want to run on first down. Look at the Giants down here. They have rush 0, pass 5 times on first down, because that's the down that the Bears are ganging up on the run.
Veteran Dan Hampton playing perhaps his last game.
He doesn't want to hear that. He wants to play one today, he wants to play one next week, then he wants to play one the following week.
Taking a lot of deep breaths. This is Anderson. Bounces away momentarily. It's close to a first down, maybe not.
I tell you, when you run inside against the fridge, you aren't going to get a lot of first down.
There's not a lot of give in there.
No, because most of the bounces go backwards. There aren't many bounces when you run into 72 that go forward. They go backwards or sideways, or they'll go upside down. Look at 72 back there. I mean, that's hard. How do you run? How do you like to go up the line and say, okay, let's run in there. You got to block 72. You'd say, hey, coach, let's try something else, huh?
The referee can't even see where to put the yard marker.
I told you, they bounce back. That's the difference in the bounce. Bill Parcells goes for more first downs on 4th downs than any coach I know.
Especially here. 4th and about a 1.5 feet.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't run it at the fridge. I mean, I would kind of try and get it off tackle or someplace else, because I don't care. You know, I mean, they say he's big and all this, but you don't move that guy.
He moves wherever he wants to move.
And he moves you where he wants to move you.
There at the 26. Roscoe is the man in motion, and Hostetler comes out of there. It's the pass to Bob Roscoe, first down Giants. Picked up 6. Sean Gale knocked him out of bounds.
You know, that's a gutsy call by Bill Parcells, because you don't get another one. That's 4th down. You know, and I think you wonder, do you have confidence in Hostetler? I think Bill Parcells right here showed that he had confidence in Jeff Hostetler. I think he had confidence in Roscoe, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you call a play where your backup quarterback who's starting has to throw it to your 3rd tight end. That takes a whole bunch of guts.
That's the drive so far. Every pass they've thrown, except that one's been on first down. This one is another one. For Baker, touchdown. This was one heck of a throw by Hostetler.
If they're going to get a big play in the passing game, it's going to be to Stephen Baker. Of course, we know his nickname is Touchdown Maker, but he is a guy who can really get open. It was a heck of a throw by Hostetler, but did Stephen Baker make a move on that corner move? He ran what we call a corner pattern. He's going to start in, then go back out. Watch Hostetler make that throw. I think they're reviewing it, Pat, right now. There's 1 foot, 2. He had both inbound.
We have nearly 300 beaches in Puerto Rico. And each one is a reason to wake early.
Now we look at it from that angle. Still has 2 feet inbound. But the move to get in that position by Stephen Baker was a heck of a move.
That shouldn't take too long, this review.
After further review, play stands as called. Touchdown.
Barr will try the extra point with A minute and 4 seconds left to play in the first quarter. This would make it 10-0 Giants. The touchdown maker, Stephen Baker, just put another notch in the gun from Hostetler. Good throw, good pattern, good catch.
Okay, and a good call by Bill Parcells there, the thing that made it possible. You have to remember, they got that 4th down situation. And it takes a lot of guts to go for it on 4th down, especially in a playoff game. And then to go for it on 4th down and have your quarterback throw it to a guy named Morosco, that takes a whole bunch of them.
As they continue to throw on 1st down when that occasion arises. 10-0 Giants. The winner to play the San Francisco 49ers next week at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. That's a scoring drive and a good one.
Great corner move by Baker and a big call by Bill Parcells going for it on 4th down.
Johnny Bailey from the 3. Last kickoff return was a good one. David Whitmore. Buffalo over Miami in the snow, 44-34. And it was much closer earlier than the 49ers with Montana back on target, as you would expect. Eliminated the Redskins.
The other thing in this game, Pat, is the Giants have really changed up. They've changed up on defense. They've passed every 1st down. Now the Bears, conversely, have run on every 1st down.
Zach up under the center, and again they run on 1st down, and it doesn't work again. Anderson stopped by Eric Howard.
I think the Giants came in with a heck of a game plan to throw the Bears off. And of course you have to remember now, the Giants had 2 weeks. They didn't play last week. The Bears had to play last week, so they really had an extra week to rest and to get ready.
Don't you think also, John, it makes some difference the fact that they don't play each other a lot? First time in regular season since '87.
Yeah, and that's probably why a change works better than it would if you were really familiar.
To Muster from Tomzak. Greg Jackson out there with it.
Yeah, I can feel this Giant defense. You know, towards the end of the season, they got a little vulnerable, but they are sure fired up in this first quarter.
And that's the end of the first quarter. The first quarter didn't look that way. The Bears got 4 yards on the ground. The Giants got 8. 3rd down, 2nd down, I beg your pardon, and 10. 3rd down, they said. Incomplete. Wendell Davis, the intended receiver. That brings up 4. Curry Williams, the defender.
And when you have these backup quarterbacks playing like Jeff Hostetler and they have some success, they throw a touchdown, and you see pictures of them, they just look like different guys. You can just see their confidence building.
Buford back. Meggett back.
Talk about dangerous guys, Stephen Baker being one of them. David Meggett is another one on this Giant team. That's one of the reasons Bill Parcells wanted nicer weather for those 2 guys.
Good kick by Buford. Meggett will handle at his own 30. Knocked out of bounds by the Bears, Maurice Douglas. 50-yard kick by Buford. 13-yard return by Meggett. 10-0 Giants as we open the second quarter. Both teams have made some very radical changes from what they've done to get here so far.
Yeah, I like what the Giants have done. I mean, you know, there was all the talk it was going to be a running game. The Giants so far have played a 4-man line. They haven't done it all year. I think that's confused the Bears, and they have thrown so far in every 1st down.
And here's one coming. Giants operate from their own 43-yard line. Hampton got about 3. Stopped by the other Hampton and Mike Singletary. That would be Dan Hampton. Cold, but not cold for this time of year. And a bright day at Giant Stadium in the Jersey Meadowlands.
Yeah, I think Mark Bavaro had to block Dan Hampton on that play because after the play they were both talking. You know, there was rumors or talks in the papers in New York this week that Mark Bavaro may retire after this season. Of course, we know that Dan Hampton is going to retire.
2nd and 7. Hostetler back to throw, hitting the ball knocked loose. Looked like the Bears came up with it, and they did.
Big play by Steve McMichael. McMichael just got a push, and he just exploded right through his blocker, right into and right through Hostetler, and knocked the ball out.
And Hampton came up with it.
I'll tell you, watch right there. You're going to see McMichael. He's going to come right there and explode. You see him right through his blocker and right through Hostetler. William Roberts was blocking against McMichael, and he threw the whole batch of them into the quarterback.
1st and 10, Bears at the Giant 38. Those turnovers again. Muster to about the 30. Gain of 3, stopped by Leonard Marshall.
I think one thing that the Bears could probably steal a page from the Giants here and start throwing some passes on 1st down. You know, don't wait. Don't wait for that 3rd down or that long yardage to be passing. There you can see a shot of the Giant 4-man line. Again, the first time they've used that all year.
2nd down at 7. Tomczak back to throw, chased. Fires, picked off almost by Mark Collins as the Bears' intended receiver slipped down. I think it was Morris. No, Wendell Davis.
Yeah, Wendell Davis was down there. He was down there about the 5-yard line. You see him, number 82. He's down in the ground already. But it looked like he tried to slow up or stop to come back for the ball. Mark Collins had control and everything. You see the expression when you know you have one and you just don't get it.
So it brings up 3rd and 7. Tomczak 4 out of 9. Davis right, Morris left. With Kozlowski. And Gentry on the inside of him. Tomczak back to throw it, gets it outside to Neil Anderson, a Bear 1st down.
Good morning. IT, they got sucked into emails again.
It's okay. We just approved Grammarly for the whole company. It's AI. Writes an instant first draft. It works everywhere.
I'm in need of a driver with a particular set of skills.
Yeah, I can drive.
Am I a good man? Am I a good man?
Renee Thompson made the stop.
That is the type of thing that Neil Anderson, you know, you talk about stopping Neil Anderson. It's not only as a runner, but it's also as a pass receiver. You see here, he gets the ball, turns it upfield, and that's a good tackle by Renee Thompson. Renee Thompson, of course, one of the best special teamers in the league. Neil Anderson, one of the best running backs in all of football.
In every facet of the game. 1st and 10 at the 27 for the Bears. Giants lead 10-0. Here's Muster. Stopped by Eric Howard after a gain of 3.
Yeah, I think this is where the Bears have to start mixing up some. We look at today, they have on 1st down last week, they ran 21, passed 6. Today, they have run 7 times and only passed 1. That's where I think they have to get some of their mixture in.
2nd and 7 at the Giant 24. Giants leading 10-0. Thornton moves over to the right side. Tomczak. Fake to Anderson. Pass caught by Thornton. At about the 6, a pickup of 18 yards. Myron Guyton was a Giant defender.
Mike Ditka told us last night Thornton had to have a big game. He said because the Giants like to just leave a linebacker on the tight end a lot. Here it's a safety on him, but Thornton still beats him. Good throw by Tomczak. He threw it. If anyone was going to catch it, the only guy that could catch it was Thornton.
First and goal. The ball's at the 6. Muster and Anderson behind Tomczak. Neil Anderson for a couple. Stopped by Eric Howard again.
There you see Greg Jackson, the safety, up there too. The Giant defense is really ganging up on that first down run. And the way to help that, of course, is you got the 4 linemen, you have your 3 linebackers, and then you get your safety up there. But you see all those guys up in there, everyone is up in there to stop the run. You see 47, boom, he's just hitting it right now. They don't look like they're worrying about passing down there.
Second and goal at the 4. Anderson split wide left this time. Muster the long back. Tomczak intended for Muster, who was open, but over his head. The Bears have only gotten 12 yards and 10 rushes.
Yeah, you're right. I think at first he was looking for Neil Anderson, who was split out all the way to the left, like you said. And then Pepper Johnson gets in his face, and he has to come back, and he dumps it off to Muster. But watch Pepper Johnson, 52 there. See, he makes him throw a bad one there. Because had he thrown it shorter or seen Muster, that would have been a touchdown.
Ex-Ohio State teammates, Tomczak and Pepper Johnson. Third and goal at the 4. Ditka looked on. Tomczak to Muster. Close, but not quite.
Now this is going to be really interesting for Mike Ditka. Half the Bear players are out on the sideline. What do you do now? You're down 10-0. You're in the playoffs. I think you have to kick the field goal.
I think so too.
I think you have to get on the board. That doesn't mean that that's what he's going to think, though.
Fourth and goal at the 1, and it really is a little bit closer than that. About the 1-foot line.
Mike Ditka's decided to go for it. I'll tell you, this is football. This is championship football. You can play in the middle of the field. You know, that's for show. This is for dough down here. This is what it's all about.
And the Bears use a timeout. 10-0 Giants. NFC Divisional playoff. The Giants lead at 10-0, but the Bears are at the door inside the 1. 4th down, and they're headed for it.
This could be the whole game here, Pat. I think if the Bears don't make it here, it could be a long day for them. If they do, we got a heck of a ball game.
Anderson and Muster behind Tomczak. Coley in motion. John Washington was the first man to hit him. Muster the ball carrier, and he just got stuffed. That's one they'll think about for a while.
Yep, they went to the well. I don't know that you challenge the defense at home. I've always been a firm believer you get the score on the board. Watch number 73 here. He gets penetration. He's up. Muster doesn't have a chance. Pepper Johnson hit him so hard he knocked his helmet right off his head. And then he kept playing. Did you see that? You see Pepper there? Number 52, boom, he gets hit. The helmet goes flying off, and he jumps on top of the tackle.
Anderson and Carthon, the running backs. That's Carthon in motion, and notice Anderson breaks out of there to about the 7. Sean Gale tripped him up. A gain of 5.
Here's the way, after you make a call to go for it on 4th down, these are the feelings you had. You try and help that thing in there, but he could tell from the minute that play started it didn't have a chance.
It never did. 2nd down.
Here's the guy. Pepper still doesn't have his hat on. That's all that's left is a piece of cloth. He hit him so hard he knocked everything off except that little piece of cloth.
And the helmet disintegrated. 2nd down, and the Bears answer this time. McMichael hits Maurice Carthon along with Richard Dent.
Yeah, this is the one that when you talk about playoff or plays that get you to the championship, this may be the play that the Giants remember. That this is a play. This could be the play that took them to the championship game. That's Pepper there. When the hat goes off, he still wants to get a headbutt in there. He not only jumped on the pile, but I like he led with his head.
On 3rd down, Anderson stopped in the backfield by Richard Dent. The Giants will have to punt, and the Bears should come up with reasonably good field position again.
Richard Dent signaled in the special teams, okay, come on in, special teams, do your job, and then offense, you get in here because you're going to get the ball back again with pretty good field position.
Richard's doing more and more coaching.
Remember the last time Sean Landeta was back in this position against Chicago?
In Soldier Field. The wind was really blowing that day, and it was cold, and he missed the ball. Not one of his best. Bailey signals fair catch at the 35, a 29-yard punt.
Yeah, that is not one, as you say, that's when he has plenty of room to let it all out, and he didn't get it all out.
10-0 Giants. It's the kind of hitting game we expected. Here the Bears are at the goal line going for it on 4th and 1. Let's listen. Helmets flying along with bodies.
That is football. The only thing is you would have expected Brad Muster to be leading Neil Anderson instead of Anderson leading Brad Muster.
Tomczak back to throw, gets it across the middle to Muster, and Muster down at about the 16.
Yeah, I bet right now you don't second guess yourself as a coach, or you try not to, but I bet right now Mike Ditka's saying, geez, it would have been nice to have the field goal. Now, I don't know if he'd have the same field position, but just think he would have had the field goal, would have been 10-3. Now, boom, you're right back there. You're going for another shot to tie the score.
1st down, Bears at the Giant 15. Giants leading at the moment 10-0. It's Anderson on the move. Tomczak back to throw. Here comes the blitz. They get it out to Muster, who can't hold on.
I think that every time the Bears put a drive together, it's not all Neil Anderson, it's not the wide receivers, but in a drive, in a long drive, there's going to be some Brad Muster and some James Thornton in that drive.
Sometimes they lull you to sleep, those two guys. You don't think of them as part of the offense. You think Neil Anderson, and they run it. And indeed, he is a great back. But those two are the added ingredients. Here comes the blitz again. Intended for Anderson. The heat was on Tomczak, incomplete.
Well, they tried to get that quick up to Neil Anderson. He is a back most of the time, of course, but that time he lined up as a wide receiver. He was spread out wide. Now, the thing that does is Anderson is a good receiver, but when you put him out here, that puts the Giants' best defender, Mark Collins, on him. I would rather leave an Anderson, let him come out of the backfield or someplace where he doesn't draw coverage by a cornerback.
3rd down at the 15. Tomczak back to throw, under pressure again, gets it incomplete, intended for Thornton coming across. He just didn't have time, and this time the Bears will try for the field goal.
I like the way this Giant defense is playing, though. I mean, they are really coming. They're not giving Tomczak any lanes to throw in. I mean, that was a bad throw. He threw it high, he threw it behind him, but they're pressuring him all day. They're pressuring him, they're hitting him, they're knocking him around, they're always on him.
Here's Kevin Butler from 33 yards out with Tomczak holding. Butler with plenty of room on that one. Gets the Bears on the scoreboard. And with 6:17 left to play in the first half at Giant Stadium, it's 10-3 Giants. Second quarter with 6:17 left, and the Giants leading the Bears 10-3. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. Bill Parcells talking to some of his secondary members. Butler to kick it off, and he's come under criticism this year for being short on kickoffs. This one's not. Megan will stay in the end zone, and the Giants will operate from their 20. They lead 10-0.
Well, the last time the Giants had the ball, the Bear defense played outstandingly down here. They stopped them. They got the ball back, and then that turned into 3 points. And now I'm sure they have to. That's what they're thinking. They have to do it again. There's a Bear offensive line, and we see Jay Hilgenberg, 63. They're looking at the shots, the still photography, the still photos of the defenses. And they're looking to see what that four-man line looks like and what they can do against it.
First and 10 Giants, their own 20-yard line. Anderson the lone setback. Hostetler back to throw, chased out of the pocket by Dent. Hostetler with room to run. Scramble for 12 and a first down. Morrissey tripped him up.
I'll tell you, does Jumbo Elliott, the left tackle, love Hostetler for that play? Because what happens, here's Jumbo, here's Dent, he comes in here, boom. Hostetler, now when he takes inside, Hostetler just gets outside of him. So that's going to tame Dent down. You see Dent take the inside 95, and then Jumbo's just able to push him. Now when he does that, look at how it opens it up for Jeff Hostetler. Now, if he takes advantage of that, then Dent is thinking about that the rest of the game. I can't take the inside.
Dent in the middle this time. And Anderson goes where Dent left from. Ron Rivera finally made the stop. There's Rodney Hampton.
And the early report is, Pat, that he has a fractured fibula. And, of course, he was the guy that, was going to play such a big part in this game of spelling O.J. Anderson.
Well, if that's true, and now it's been confirmed, obviously he won't be back.
And O.J. Anderson was telling us yesterday how proud he was of Rodney Hampton, and he said that he was doing things, running the football that O.J. could just remember doing. He said it kind of brought a smile to his face watching Rodney and remember when he was young and able to do those things.
But he's still talking about next year and another 1,000-yard season. He's not ready to say goodbye yet.
No, he's gained over 10,000 yards, O.J. Anderson has, and he's talking about a goal of, well, if you get 10,000, I'd like to go for 11,000.
And who knows? First and 10. This is Anderson again. And again, he got good yardage. John Gale made the tackle. He got 9.
Yeah, this has been a good matchup here. Richard Dent, one of the best pass rushers, defensive ends in the league, against Jumbo Elliott. Watch it here. 95 is Dent. Elliott, of course, is the left tackle there. Watch him. He fires into him, turns Dent to the outside, and then puts him on his back. That is run blocking. That's what, the old line coaches, you call that drive blocking, man. They got to be able to drive block.
Anderson again, Giant first down. Sean Gale and Singletary made the stop, but Anderson got 9 more.
And I'll tell you, they're getting on that side of the line behind John Elliott and William Roberts. They're getting good blocking in there. You know, they have some help from the tight end, Bob Roscoe, who caught that big 4th down pass. But the Giant line now is controlling the line of scrimmage.
1st and 10. The last 4 plays for the Giants have been runs, and they've gotten 39 yards. Most of it, all of it, in fact, by Anderson. Well, I'll take that back. There was one scramble by Hostetler. Anderson left side again, and again yardage. Stopped by Singletary, but he got 4.
Oh, and Richard Dent's getting frustrated. He and Jumbo Elliott are going after it after the play.
I'll meet you right here.
Yeah, he's saying right here. Of course, he remembers that drive block that we showed earlier where Elliott took him and put him on his back. And I tell you, if you're a defensive lineman, that's one place that you don't ever want to end up. You never want the back of your uniform dirty.
Anderson again. And again, O.J. with a push over the right side this time. Stopped by Steve McMichael. 4-yard pickup.
I tell you, look right here. Here's how these things end. We watch matchups and you see a defensive guy win, you see an offensive guy win, and the play isn't over until it's over. And they both got a hold of each other's face mask there. That looks like the WWF. You know, I heard a new word that I'd never heard before that Dan Hampton used, saying what kind of football this is going to be. He called it slobber knocker. And I think that's what it is. I think we just saw a shot of slobber knockering.
I like that better than smash mouth, don't you?
I hate smash mouth.
10-3 Giants.
Flexible financing for vet care with Care Credit.
Back here at Giant Stadium, running back Rodney Hampton spent the last 10 minutes in the locker room where his left foot was x-rayed and retaped. He said he was hit from behind. It's a slight fracture and he may not play again. Pat?
Thank you, Leslie. The Bears have 2 timeouts left, the Giants 3. 2 minutes to go in the first half with the Giants leading 10-3.
Look at Lawrence Taylor down there. He was looking at something. He was intense. Well, he was trying to get into that picture like he was trying to stick a helmet on it or something.
Anderson really hammered by Richard Dent. There's a guy you don't want to get too excited.
I'll tell you, that's exactly right. I mean, Jumbo Elliott got the best of him that one play. Here's Richard Dent. He's standing up on that play. He takes another inside. And when he puts you, he's going to put a slobber knocker on you, I'll guarantee you.
4th down, and it looks like the Giants are going for it. Now they call a timeout to think it over.
Well, you know, I think probably if they don't go for it, Pat, they would have to kick into the wind, which is just about impossible here.
So a timeout with 1:38 left to play in the first half. Giants 10-3. 10-3, Giants lead the Bears. Second quarter we're in. Lawrence Taylor now doing a little meditating and studying and remembering 4th down. A fake to Anderson. Hostetler on the rollout with room. First down. Hostetler down to about the 23. Pickup of 10. He gives you an added dimension, doesn't he?
I tell you, he does, and that's the second time on 4th down that the Giants have gone for it. Both times they put it in Hostetler's hands. This time he has an option, run or pass. He just runs all the way because he knows he has the first down. The other time, or the first time, he ran on a sprint out and he hit Bob Morosco with a first down.
Giants haven't thrown a pass this quarter. They've been able to move it on the ground. Anderson inside the 20. Stopped by Hampton. A gain of 3.
You know, the other thing, Pat, is they know this stadium. The first quarter, they were going with the wind. So they used it then. The second quarter, they've been going against the wind.
Giant timeout. They have one left. In the Meadowlands Giant Stadium. Always sold out when the Giants are here. They have one timeout remaining. The Bears have two of theirs, but the Giants on the move have done this all on the ground. Second down, looks like about 80.
Matt Barr's down there clapping. He's clapping for a touchdown because I saw him try and kick a field goal into this wind, and he was kicking rocks in the pregame.
Everything just dies when it gets down to the goal line. Flag on the play, right at the line of scrimmage. Pass was incomplete, intended for Baker. It's against the Bears.
Offside, defense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, second down.
We'll see a few guys jump. It looks like the two guys in the middle, the one they called it on was 72, the fridge, because once he gets started, it's hard to get that stuff stopped and brought back. The others tried to, stop it and bring it back, but he just couldn't.
No mistake about who it is.
I'll tell you, that's a test for an official. If you could miss the refrigerator from being offside, then you can't be an official.
Second and 3, Meggett is the back this time. And the handoff is to Meggett. Inside the 5. Gale and Carrier made the stop. Meggett got 11 and a Giant first down.
Big play by Dave Meggett, happiest guy, the kicker, Matt Barr again. He knows, okay, now we're in here. Maybe I could make it from back there. I hope we don't have to kick it. But after Dave Meggett makes this run, I know I can kick it from there. And you see Meggett, one thing he is not going to do is fumble. I mean, he put every kind of protection on that ball that you can put on it.
And the Giants just used their last timeout here in the first half with 37 seconds left to play.
I think that thing that they did on fourth down would be a pretty good play here. I think that's what Mike Ditkin can be thinking over there, that why not let Hostetler run with it? Yeah. Roll out, get out there on the perimeter. He's had pretty good success doing that, and then have the option to run or pass.
This has been a very, very impressive drive by the Giants. 10 plays, they've gone 76 yards, all on the ground, and kept the ball 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
I've been very impressed with the Giants this first half and their game plan.
Remember, they had that extra week. In fact, they didn't work out yesterday. Bill says they don't know it by now. They'll never know. Hostetler. Touchdown to Howard Cross, with a flag on the play.
Holding.
5 yards out.
Defense.
Holding on the defense. It is a touchdown.
Well, they did exactly what we were talking about. The first two times they rolled out to the right. That time Hostetler went to the left.
And the only pass in that entire drive got him a touchdown.
Watch him. He's going to fake the run to the right. Then he's going to come out on a bootleg to his left and find Howard Cross, number 87, in the end zone.
Barr's extra point is good, and it's 17-3. A flag on the extra point.
Hey, Jeff Hostetler is really cool. You talk about a backup quarterback, and you'd think that he'd be nervous and all
We
that.
have offside on the defense. The point is good. We will penalize 5 yards on the kickoff.
Hey, you watch this from behind. You'll see how cool he is. Watch, he makes that fake to O.J. Anderson. Then he comes the opposite way. That's called a bootleg. Watch, there's going to be hands and arms out in front of him. Boom, he just throws it in there to cross in the end zone. In fact, there was one arm up around his neck. That was Richard Dent. Dent has a sleeper hold on him. That's the old sleeper. You got to check his arm. You got to check his arm to to see if he's asleep yet. Hostetler is not playing like a guy who is not a starter. He is playing like a cool veteran guy who's been starting in this league for 10 years.
Well, you know, he's a heck of an athlete. He's been around here 7 years, but there have been times in those 7 years when he's been used as a wide receiver.
We've seen him as a wide receiver. We've seen him as a special teams guy. We've seen him as a fullback on the punt cover team.
Barr bounces the kickoff to Rouse. He gets out to about the 35-yard line. 29 seconds remaining. Tillman made the stop. Don't forget to stay with us at the half. Greg and Terry, after making the journey back from San Francisco, Pat O'Brien and Leslie Visser with reports from the locker room. And that's where they'll be at the half.
Well, they don't have anything built yet. Look, they just got pieces. They got to piece that whole thing together. There's Bradshaw right there. He's waiting for it.
He's going to help with the construction.
I think he has to because they didn't have any parts.
Here's Tomczak. Chased by Pepper Johnson. Finally throws incomplete. Wendell Davis, the intended receiver.
Spring Breakout has arrived at Great Wolf Lodge. Our lodges are brimming with springtime fun, attractions, dance parties, and our indoor water park. It's an 84-degree oasis for your pack. Book your Spring Breakout stay today at greatwolf.com.
Mark Collins.
See, now there you got Terry Bradshaw. You have Greg Gumbel, and then see they're talking about now. You see, they got to see, like here, this has to go, this wall has to go up. They got to get that stuff in. They just bring everything. When they talk about bringing on the road, they bring everything on the road.
One of those platforms is Terry's, the other's Greg's.
I thought Terry had a hammer in his pocket. I just saw a hammer. He had one of those belts on.
Pass is picked off by Everson Walls. Intended for Davis. And now it is not an interception. Ball hit the ground.
That was still a pretty good play. He did drop it. It went right through his legs, but went right through his hands and his arms and his legs, but that was pretty good coverage. They know, of course, that the Bears have to just throw a deep one with just 15 seconds left.
17-3, the Giants lead the handoff on the draw play to Anderson. Clock still running. Lawrence Taylor on the stop. A gain of 9, but that is the end of the first half. Maybe.
I think the Bears took a timeout.
There's that true working. Now, I don't see Terry and Greg in there.
No, they hand the hammers to the other guys, but they thought the clock stopped, and they said they're going to have to take it apart again. You got to get that off the field. Because the Bears, of course, they have 3rd and short here, and there's 5 seconds left, and they're going with the win. See that? You can do anything in a matter of time. 5 seconds, you can put the whole thing up there. Then at halftime, they'll look like they've been there the whole time.
Bradshaw and Gumbel are what you call foremen.
Yeah, well, they held the tools, though, too. Because they carry, those two guys carry tools wherever they go with them. I watch them, and I see them. They always have, like that belt they put around their, both of them always have one of those.
You can put everything in there.
Leslie Visser carries the tools, too, to help put the thing together.
She's back by the locker room right now. Here's Tomczak. Gets away from one. This time, that's the end of the first half. With the score, the Giants 17, the Bears 3. Dennis Gentry breaks out of the pack momentarily, gets it out to about the 31. Barr, the kicker, tripped him up. couple of players slow in getting up. 24-3.
What, Barr was in on that tackle?
Right.
He's trying to get on the All-Madden team. Look, he's wobbly.
Campaigning for that.
Yeah, well, they have to help him off. He must have really made some hit. I think he's the only guy in football with the single face mask. Watch him, number 9 here. He's going to make the hit. The first thing you do is you come up and you square up, square up, square up. Then you unload your load. Boom! You let him have it. Exactly what Matt Barr did.
He keeps that up, he'll make the All-Madden team.
I might put him in there.
Tom Zach, 8 straight incompletions, but that wasn't his fault.
That's the first. They have the doctor over there checking him, asking him, see, can you see up? Can you see down? How many fingers? They always put up 5 fingers. Hey, this is it though. Watch number 9 come in. You see what happened? That's a pretty good tackle. The only thing is you never, ever, ever put your head down.
2nd and 10. Anderson splits wide to the right. Collins comes out with him. Flag on the play. Draw play to Muster to about the 35, not much. Pepper Johnson made the stop, a 4-yard gain by Muster. That's Barr's helmet they're checking out. He drove some of those rivets back into it. Was a heck of a tackle.
Either that or Pepper Johnson's helmet they're still working on from that goal line play.
First penalty against the Giants.
A quarterback, a kicker, is taught to never...
Offsides, defense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, 2nd down.
Yeah, a kicker's like a golfer. You always keep your head down. Always keep your head down. That's good when you're kicking. But when you're tackling, you never put your head down. See that always, in the kick, always keep your head down. Keep your head down like they tell you. But not when you tackle, you don't.
2nd down. Morris was the man in motion. Tomzak gets it out to Gentry, and the Bears will have a 1st down, and Tomzak's streak of incompletions is over.
Yeah, you think of that 4th down. If you look at that, the Bears before that 4th down play, they had 105 total yards. Remember, they went for it on 4th down in the goal line, and Washington made the shot, and then Pepper Johnson. After that took all the air out of him.
I remember you saying at that time, this could be the ball game right here.
And as I look back, I think it was a ball game.
I think it was too. Tom Zach back to throw again. Wendell Davis to about the 27. Stopped by Jackson and Guyton. Pickup of 26.
This is where the Bears have to do it, and they have to do it quickly. They have to, they have the wind. This is here. If you're going to pass, you want to pass as you're going in this direction, and now's the time to do it. Good pass protection, good throw. The Bears are really calling plays now. Mike Ditka's calling them, and he's halfway out on the field.
1st and 10 Bears, the Giant 28.
I think Wendell Davis got hurt on that last play, Pat. They just took him out.
Here's Tomzak. Pass is caught by Thornton. He's out of bounds after a gain of 6. Greg Jackson pushed him out.
There's Ditka there. You can see he wants to know the down and distance. He's going to call the plays.
Collins is hurt. And down. He got up for a moment. Pepper Johnson called for help, but that's Collins down.
Watch Mark Collins. He looks like right at the end of the play, he tries to pull up and he slips right on the sideline.
Right ankle. 8:45, clock running in the 3rd quarter. Working on Mark Collins. 2nd and 4 Bears. Deep in Giant territory now. Tomzak gives to Anderson for a pickup of 3. They'll need a yard for a first. Stop by Pepper Johnson.
Yeah, the Giants are still using that 4-man line, Pat, and I think that's the first rush that the Bears have had this second half, and they've really stopped them. I mean, they've really contained that running, and then of course when you get ahead, now the run's not going to do that much good. But I think the 4-man line not only surprised the Bears, but I think it's functioned very well.
And it's made, perhaps, the Bears throw more than they wanted to. Here's Tomczak, flag on the play. Dumps it out to Anderson. Anderson inside the 10, out of bounds at the 7.
The thing is, the Bears haven't had the ball a lot, but they just haven't gotten it in this man's hands enough. I mean, if the Bears have any chance offensively to do anything, it has to be in Neil Anderson's hands.
I think the Giants might have had 12 men on the field. But the Bears will stick with the play because Anderson got it down to about the 7 where it'll be first and goal.
Well, that's a good defense. That's the old 4-4-4.
On the defense. Too many men on the field at the time of the snap. Penalty was declined. First down.
Yeah, I think half of them were playing a 4-man line and half were playing a 3-man line, and they ended up exactly in a 4-4-4. You see, they got the 12. Here's the one guy trying to get off, and that's what it is. And then they just had 11 that were there ready to play.
At the 7, it's first and goal. Muster and Anderson. The rollout is to Tomczak, who fires it over everybody. Closest man was Thornton.
That was just good coverage there. Everyone was covered. I think they tried to fool him with a play pass. Didn't. Good coverage. Tomczak just threw that one away.
That's Collins. They'll take him into the locker room for an x-ray.
First, we know that now we see Mark Collins go out. The Giants today have already lost Rodney Hampton.
Davis right, Morris left. Thornton now moves over to the left side. Second and goal from the 7. Tomczak on a draw play. Anderson maybe to the 4.5, stopped by Reasons.
That's the area that the Bears usually make so much of their running game, right inside that middle on that delay or draw type stuff. But those guys that are handling that middle, Marshall and Howard and Washington and those guys, have played extremely well in there today.
They really have. And there's a guy who came up with a tremendous plan as to how to handle Mike Ditka's Bears. 24-3, Giants lead. Muster, the lone setback. They throw it out to Muster, and he is stopped right at the 5. No gain. Everson Walls came up to make the tackle.
One thing, the Giants have really played well down in the goal line. Remember earlier, this play, this could have set the tone of the whole game. This could have been the play that changed the game. This could have been the play, the situation that won the game for the Giants right here. And now they're doing it again. Here we see right here the little loop out to Muster. Everson Walls has been criticized for his tackling. Comes up and makes a tackle for no gain.
And it brings up 4th and goal from the 5. Anderson comes out as a flanker. Split wide to the right. Muster stays in the block. Nothing for Tomczak. They don't make it. He couldn't find anybody. He finally hit Thornton. But one more time, they couldn't get it in.
And these fans really appreciate their defense. All fans appreciate offense. All fans appreciate quarterbacks. But here in New York, they really appreciate their defense.
That goes back to the days of Sam Huff and company at Yankee Stadium.
When you get pressure like that, first of all, there's good coverage. Look at Tomczak. He can't find anyone. He can't see anything. And by the time he finally does, Eric Dorsey is right on him.
So the Giants take over inside the 1. That's a new maneuver by Ditka.
We had a replay. Play stands is called. Short of the goal line.
Look at the pressure Mike Tomczak started under the guard before that play.
Eric Dorsey rolled into Tomczak just as he let it go. Giant ball. That's Carthon with it. He's hit right at the line. Struggle for perhaps a yard. Taken down by Singletary. But the clock continues. 5:25 left to play. Third quarter. Giants 24, Bears 3.
There's a fired up group. I mean, they came out in the introduction and the pregame warm up that Giant defense was fired up, and they have played that way all day. They've performed extremely well, and they've tackled very well.
Otis Anderson this time, stopped by William Perry. 49ers looking on. The winner of this will play at Candlestick next Sunday.
Yeah, they remember, I'm sure that both the 49ers and the Giants remember that last one. It was 7-3 back there in Candlestick on a Monday night game. That was a real war, and that was regular season. Imagine what a game like that will be for a championship.
Two teams with the two best records. I guess it's only fitting.
The Giants with a 24-3 lead now. They're trying to take as much time as they can. Even in the third quarter, they're running time off.
That's Anderson. Broke a couple of tacklers. Got 7 yards and got a first down. Carrier and Armstrong. That stop for the Bears
is what it's all about, Pat. You know, when you can do them, and there's a lot of runs that you can make around midfield, but when you can bring it off the goal line like O.J. Anderson did just there, that is something that bends you over backwards.
The oldest active running back in the NFL. Today he looks like the youngest.
He can still play on my team.
This is Anderson again. Out to about the 18. Carrier made the stop. 6 yards for Otis.
You know, Otis is the type of guy that, you know, he's been in the league 12 years, and he just seems to get better the more you give him the ball. I mean, if you only give him the ball 2 or 3 times a game, I mean, he doesn't do very much. When you just give him the ball and you pound him in there, and you pound him in there, you pound him, he really comes through for you.
"18 carries, 73 yards for Anderson."
And someday in this game, before this day's over, he is going to get a headbutt or a hug from Bill Parcells.
This is Tillman around left side, giving Anderson a breather for a first down and a gain of 6. Sean Gale made the stop. They are just wearing him down.
And that's exactly what Bill Parcells wants to do. Just keep that clock going. Just wear them down. Just keep changing your running backs. Again, Rodney Hampton is out. They have lost him. They do not want to let the Bears have the ball. Just play keep away.
They've been able to do it a couple of long drives from down deep in their own territory.
And 4th down has been a real big story today.
It really has. This is Tillman again, the slasher. Got perhaps 2. 2nd and 8. Here's Hostetler back. Has a man open. It's Ingram. Another first down, stopped by Donnell Wolford.
A guy who's really done a good job today, Pat, is Jumbo Elliott. I think someday he's going to be one of the best tackles in the league. Now, he's drawn Richard Dent, who is a good pass rusher. But here's Elliott. And again, on this play, he's just going to take him and push him to the outside. Get him going up the field. Just push him out beyond your quarterback. But I think when you talk about run blocking, pass protection, and everything, Jumbo Elliott has played a very, very solid game today.
Tillman again, the deep back. First down, Giants. Hostetler will throw it. Or maybe he'll run it. He is down in the arms of Ron Cox. A loss of 7. You're wondering what that 91 on the front of the Bear jerseys is for in black. Fortunately, Fred Washington, involved in an automobile accident earlier this year, not too long ago as a matter of fact, lost his life, and the Bears remember. Second and 17. Lawrence Taylor acknowledging the fans. And this effort by the Giants. That's the end of the third quarter. At Giants Stadium, I'm Pat Summerall with John Madden. Collins slightly sprained. Gabriel is part of that Giant defense, I think.
That's something. A guy plays and no one watches him, and he said, heck, I'll bring my own horn and blow it.
Second and 17. Cross moving around, and Hostetler back to throw it. Got hit just as he let it go. Flag on the play. Singletary was on a blitz.
You're going to see Singletary here. They know that they have to get the ball back. They're going after him. Singletary just comes on what they call a delay blitz. No one gets him. Hostetler, when he turns to the left, the first thing he sees is Singletary, and he can't get it up over him. They call that one for grounding. I don't know.
We have intentional grounding on the offense. Number 15 is a 10-yard penalty plus a loss of down.
Loss of down is a big part of that one's third down. Opening seconds of the final quarter. Unless the Bears should tie it. Right now the Giants lead 24-3, third and 27. Meggett in the backfield with Hostetler. And the Bears show blitz. Don't count. Draw play to Meggett. Finally smothered by the Bears. Richard Dent, Dan Hampton, also with an assist.
You know where the Giants have done such a good job in ball control in this whole second half. The Bears have only had the ball one time, so you're down 24-3. You're trying to make a comeback, and the frustration of it is you just can't get the ball.
It's hard to make the comeback when the other folks have got it. Landetta in the punt. Bailey back deep for the Bears. He returned 195 yards against Kansas City. That won him the punt return championship for the year. And Dennis' kick is a good one. Bailey, the first man down. Guess who? Renee Thompson.
Renee Thompson, I think, is probably the best special teams player that ever played the game. Watch him. They only got one guy on him. He has about 3 gears. He comes down in one, puts it in a second, then in a third, and then calls it down to second and makes the tackle again.
Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. 24-3, the Giants over the Bears for the right to play the 49ers next week at Candlestick to see who goes to the Super Bowl. Muster was the lone setback. Pass incomplete, intended for Morris. And Hampton a little disgusted.
There's a guy who's been a real warrior in this league, and I think right now he can see a career ending. He knows that this is going to be his last year, his last season, and of course when the Bears lose, it's his last game.
A lot of people thought he shouldn't have come back this year, but he said, in fact, he told us in Chicago, when I came here, this was a pretty good house. It was pretty strong. Things seemed to be in order. In the last year, I didn't like the way it looked, so I came back. Tomczak, with a lot of time this time, gets it out to Wendell Davis. Pickup of 14 yards and should be enough and is enough for a Bear first down. Best protection Tomczak's had all day.
Yeah, and it's going to be too much too late. I mean, they came in there and they had to be able to run the ball and to, play pass and get some passes, and they just haven't been able to do any of those things. Neil Anderson's only rushed for 20 yards. They just didn't get the ball to him enough today.
Tomczak dumps it off to Anderson. No gain. Pepper Johnson there with Anderson.
And maybe that's why they haven't gotten to it. They've had someone like Pepper Johnson peppered to them all day. I mean, this Giant defense has really been well prepared. I mean, they're back to their three-man defense now, playing their double zone, playing their conservative defensive football. But boy, did they mix up and change things on these Bears today.
Second down. Ball played to Anderson, right at the line of scrimmage by Pepper Johnson. Maybe he lost one.
Look at Pepper, he's fired up. There's Bill Belichick. He's the defensive coordinator of this team, and he's the guy that put this game plan together, and I think he did an excellent job. He went to Chicago last week, watched the Bears play New Orleans, and he called his game plan against the Bears while he was sitting in Soldier Field. And he said, I learned some things that could have hurt us if I would have done that. So I've changed them, and this is what he came up with.
Here's Tomczak. He gets it to Gentry, and Gentry hustles for what appears to be a first down, knocked out of bounds by Roger Brown.
Hey, talk about guys that have done a good job. There's a guy, Jeff Hostetler, you say, the backup quarterback, and I've always said that a backup quarterback can win games, can even win playoff games, but I don't think can win a championship, can take you all the way to the Super Bowl. But the way this guy has played today, I don't know that I don't believe that he couldn't do it.
Well, as we said before, he's been around here for a long time, 7 years, and he is a heck of an intelligent athlete. Incomplete. Intended for Thornton.
You talk about key plays in the game, Pat. How about Mark Bavaro's that third down play when they had to get the first down? And I don't know how he did that, how he got that ball out there and nothing else touched the ground. He knew exactly where he was and picked up that first down.
And look, he smiled.
He doesn't do much of that. Hey, it's tough on the other side. You know what's tough is realizing the finality that you just go and start putting stuff in boxes.
And about now you start to realize that it's starting to sink in. Pass intended for Dennis Gentry. Peter Tom Willis, a man with the three names, warming up on the sideline, number 10. The rookie from Florida State, Dan Hampton.
I think the thing is, one thing Hampton said, that he was able to do it his way, though. Some people thought he shouldn't come back, he wouldn't come back, but he wanted to do it. And said one thing, I did it my way.
Pass batted by Renee Thompson and batted away from the Bear receiver. Kozlowski was the intended.
One of the Bear players told us about Tomczak and his confidence, and he said he noticed that the more he looks to the sidelines, the less confidence he has. He said when Mike Thompson, and it's really not fair to say that now when it's 24-3, but he said when he has a lot of confidence, he doesn't look at the sidelines as much. And when he doesn't, he's always looking over at the sideline.
The Bears are 0 for 4 on 4th down, and it's 4th and 10. Tomczak to Kozlowski. And now they have finally converted on a 4th down situation.
Kozlowski tried to make that same move that Bavaro made, and he did. I mean, again, a smart play, knowing where you are on 3rd down and where you have to get it to. Or on 4th down. I mean, know where that marker is, and as you spin, you see him look to the sideline and then try and get one more little oomph in there. If you didn't have it before, you got it now.
1st and 10 Bears. Tomczak in the direction of Gentry, but picked off by Walls. Everson Walls still going. Walls. Fourth 3, Giants lead. They have the ball. Everson Walls. The Cowboys let him go, but he's fit in here.
It's amazing after they make an interception how much they see. I was on you, I saw you, I did this, I did that. They have everything covered.
On 1st down, it's Anderson for a couple. Stopped by Hampton.
Watch the pressure. You see the first pressure that he got was from Pepper Johnson, and then he had to pull his hand down. And then when he throws the interception, he's still going to get it. They're still going after him. The first guy that got it was Pepper Johnson. The second guy that got him was Lawrence Taylor. When you wear a team number, you're a marked man, especially when you have QB after your name.
2nd and about 7 or 8. Anderson behind Carthon. Anderson again. Hit right at the line of scrimmage by William Perry. No advance.
I tell you, if you run in there too many times on William Perry, you're going to have a lot of no advances. That's one thing that I was surprised that the Giants kept trying to do is run right in there on that guy, because that's darn near an impossibility. I think just about everything else the Giants did today, they had success except that.
3rd and 8. Hostetler with Carthon behind him in motion now, and he gives or fakes to Anderson. Hostetler dives close to the 1st down. That's close and dangerous.
I'll tell you, I was thinking about this play right here, that bootleg play with the quarterback running, the quarterback diving. He's trying to make a Bavaro play now. But I'll guarantee you who's watching it and thinking about it right now is Charles Haley of the 49ers. Because he's the guy who loves to go after the quarterback and doesn't like to keep containment.
1st down on a dive by Hostetler. This game is presented by the authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Chicago Bears, and the New York Giants and the National Football League is prohibited. Now they're going to review the spot
After further review, play stands as called. First down.
It is a first down.
Hey, what they're talking about again is the Bears have really had trouble keeping containment of Hostetler.
Really?
And, you know, if you take your outside guys and you tell them to contain, then a lot of times that takes the aggressiveness out of them. So then you just get them standing there. So then if you get them standing there, you say, come on, go after them. Then you go after them, and the quarterback gets outside. It'll drive you nuts.
It takes him right out of the pass rush.
And I think that's exactly what happened to Richard Dent.
Ingram, the man in motion. To Anderson. O.J. to the 40, to the 35. A pickup of 6. Stopped by Roper.
Old O.J. still has some fight into him, too, doesn't he? He said, you know, he was saying last year, he said he had a pretty good year, and everyone was saying O.J. made a comeback. He said, but he had a pulled groin all year. He said he was never healthy all last year. He said this year he's healthy, and I think he's making moves like he did 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah. 21 times he's handled it.
In fact, they got a surprise. The team has a surprise. I thought they'd given it to him, but they bought him a Rolex watch, I've heard, for his 10,000 yards. They haven't given it to him yet.
2nd and 4. Anderson got the rest. That's Tillman. Inside the 35, he picked up 3. Sean Gale made the stop. 24-3. The Giants over the Bears. A sad end to that chapter.
You know, you think that book that he has that equipment on, that helmet, those shoulder pads, jerseys, hand pad. You've been wearing it for so many years of your life, not only your 12 years with your Bears, but college, high school, all the way back. And after this game's over, you're going to take it off, and never put it on again.
I think he's ready. 3rd and about a yard. And Tillman fighting. I think he got it. Picked up 2. Gale made the stop along with Perry.
I think that realization has set in on that Bear sideline that the season's over. It's been a good season. For Dan Hampton, of course, it's been a great career, but I think they realize now it's all done.
Clock running, 8:20 left to play in this contest. Jeff Hostetler's done a heck of a job today. Otis Anderson has been outstanding.
How about that Giant offensive line and defensive line? I think that's a big story. The lines have controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
That's Tillman inside the 25. Stopped by Carrier and Cox. The coordinating producers of the NFL on CBS, Charles H. Milton III and Ed Gorin. This game produced by Robert D. Stinner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The NFL Today produced by Eric Mann, directed by Kathy Barretto. Senior producer David Winter and the executive producer Ted Shaker. And be sure to stay around after the game is over for the post-game show, the NFL Today, where they'll be talking with the retiring Dan Hampton as well as the winners, the Giants. Tillman to about the 21. Mark Carrier made the stop.
Yeah, they've really done a lot over there on that left side today, and I think you have to give Jumbo Elliott and William Roberts a lot of credit, too, in the job that they've done in the tight ends, that most of their running, or most of their successful running, has been to that left side. I think the Giants slumped a little when they lost Jumbo Elliott. He had a broken leg for a while, and he was out. And then when he came back, that gave them that big guy they need in that offensive line, that guy to kind of anchor, you know, to kind of hang everyone else on.
Jumbo, when he had that broken leg, he wouldn't talk about it. He wouldn't talk to anybody about it.
Well, no, and Coach Parcells said, you know, he just has a leg. He has a little leg. He has a leg. He's not playing. And that leg that he had was a broken leg.
You'd ask him, how are you? I'm fine. Why aren't you playing? I'm fine. What's wrong? I'm fine.
Yeah, and then when you get, and they say it's non-weight bearing, but when you're that big, I mean, that guy fills out that stuff. I mean, he's well over 300 pounds, Jumbo Elliott. Everything is weight bearing.
I was going to say, you showed me a part of a guy like that. It's not weight bearing. Third down, about a foot.
I like him. He may not be a bad guy to put on the All-Madden tape. A cold day, you come out there, your shirt sleeves, you have them short, you got to take on dent, got to take on that tough Bear defense, you bang in there all day. That's not a bad choice. I like him.
Your helmet looks like a skull cap. First down, Giants. 4.5 minutes left to play.
Let's just watch him fire out here. You watch and see what a tackle that you see. You got to stay low, boom, and just fire out like that. That's pretty doggone good. I mean, he took McMichael and he just put him right to the ground. That's a drive block. I mean, you could take that one to the movies and show it. That's how to drive block.
Well, Bill Parcells was telling us if we win, it certainly looks like they're going to over Mike Ditka's Bears. If we win and the weather's bad here in the East, they're going to go to Phoenix during the week before they face the 49ers. Tillman, right side, a gain of 4.
I bet they don't go to Phoenix. I know Bill Parcells. The last time they went to Phoenix, they had a disaster out there in L.A. I think, and he likes it here. He's going to stay here. Here's a guy who has to wear the same clothes. He has a pair of pants that the zipper doesn't work, and that's why he has that big old coat, so you can't see. But he has to wear those pants with a broken zipper all the time.
Those are superstitious pants.
I know it. Well, I mean, he has more superstitions than all the other coaches in this league put together. He has more.
His office, for example, is full of elephants. Loves elephants. They're winning elephants.
I'll tell you, he has done a heck of a job in the years that he's been here.
That's Tillman. And about the 10 or 11, a pickup of 5. Tough loss for Mike Ditka and the Bears. They just, as John Madden said, took a physical beating. Although they beat New Orleans last week, you could tell at the end of the game, almost after every play, somebody left.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought, were they going to be able to get it up and come in here again? And we talk about Bill Parcells has done an excellent job. Mike Ditka has done an excellent job of, recovering from last year and bringing this Bear team back to the year that they had.
3rd and 1. Handoff to Tillman, and he's got a first down. Ron Cox made the stop, and we'll have the 2-minute warning at Giants Stadium with the Giants leading the Bears 24-3. That's one of the gentlemen we hope to be talking to on the NFL Today, the postgame show when this is over. Dan Hampton, along with Bill Parcells, Jeff Hostetler, we hope. Matt Millen is standing by on the West Coast. It's Carthon to the 5. Matt Millen, of course, had a great year with the 49ers.
Matt Millen is one guy who will understand what the word slobberknocker means.
Timeout, Bears. The last win for the Giants over the Bears, October the 5th, 1969. Bill Parcells was an assistant coach at West Point. Bobby Knight was the basketball coach. Rodney Hampton was 6 months old. Richard Nixon was the president. Dan Hampton. Back in the game, he wants to finish his career on the field. Carthon hammers over the left side. Stopped by Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's fitting that Dan Hampton went back in and made the tackle on that play. He was on the sideline, and He didn't want to finish his career standing on the sideline. You know, if they're going to be in there, he wanted to go in and play it. Well, this is going to be his last game. He wants to go out playing.
Well, it's been a wonderful career. An All-American at Arkansas. He's got a ranch down in Cabot, Arkansas. Wants to get into the broadcasting business. He would do well. Straight ahead, stopped by Hampton and others.
Yeah, if he keeps playing like this, I think he's going to want another year. I mean, he's got down there in the goal line and he's tough too. We saw him there, watch him, 99. He's just standing that whole side straight up. There's just 99. They just run right into him. There's nothing there.
Think about 10 knee operations for Dan Hampton. There's a guy. Whoa, what credit he deserves. Otis Anderson. And the guy next to him, Bill Parcells. Hampton, 10 knee operations. I don't know how many broken fingers. One broken leg. One leg shorter than the other. Arthon. Straight ahead. Touchdown. From a yard out. Maurice Carthon, the blocker. I think Bill Parcells just took a bath.
Yeah, he did. They went back to the old bucket again, and then he got the headbutt from Pepper. They got all kinds of things going there in the sideline.
That Gatorade took care of the hairdo.
Yep, there it is.
It's a new kind of moose.
But he's still looking up. See O.J. Anderson run off. He has one ball. Maurice Carthon has the other ball. Carthon doesn't get a lot of these. In fact, I don't know if he has that one. They're reviewing that one. Did the ball break the plane? I know the guy who was making the big argument there was Dan Hampton. He didn't want to go out in his last play where they scored against him. Watch it here. Does the ball break the plane? Yep, it sure does.
Yep.
From that angle there, you can see that it broke the plane.
And that's what has to happen for it to be called a touchdown. The ball is the key thing.
Now the Giants are lined up there with their
After further
point team.
Play stands is called touchdown.
Then you get another celebration. That's a good thing about this instant replay. You get a whole bunch of celebration. You celebrate when you do it. Then you celebrate when they say, hey, what you just did really did happen.
I still don't think Mike Ditka likes it. No matter how many celebrations you get. The extra point by Barr is good. 31-3. Barr's kickoff is a bouncer. Stay with us. Again, a reminder. The Bears.
The old Cal Stanford play. Where's the band?
That's all she wrote. Tillman made the stop. The Giants and the 49ers.